Here we are, the final movie to finally wrap up the Alpha and Omega-Cember. As I mentioned from my previous video where I said about the whole feud with a real life friend of mine, you can go rewatch it to listen the part story about it. But also, years ago, I actually made a my thoughts video about this final movie years ago, which you can find it in my videos where I talked about it. And when they first revealed the cover and the synopsis for this movie. And so now, this is also my second time seeing this movie, and then it's a wrap. The movie opens with another normal weather season in Jasper after the winter season, as the pups where they are acting like royalty, and we see Fleet makes his return as being part of the play with Agnes as well, which she had a terrible singing voice as Brent was napping instead of playing along with the whole royalty on practicing. And then later the royal birds arrives telling all over Jasper Park that the royalty bears are coming to Jasper as they all begin to get prepared and start cleaning up. The royal bears arrived as Queen Bear, played by Erin Fitzgerald, and her daughter Canu, played by G.K. Bowes, were talking about where's her crown. And then Strom, played by Joshua Tomar, tells them that he will secure the area and the queen appreciates it. And then we get some more recolor Marcells. And I also notice all the bears are pretty much barely reused models in a way, with few additional stuff like Strom's face with a beard and eyebrows. The royalty bears have arrived as the citizens of Jasper are welcoming them as they are passing by, which is basically like actual royalty does when they pass by. Then they even meet the pups as the queen actually recognizes them, even she knows Caden Humphrey. Then we get Agnes going off tone on singing again as like after that rehearsal. Wow. Holy cow. They really begin to add dancing since the 6th movie. And then suddenly Brent begins to fall in love with Canu, as it's pretty much a love at first sight ever since Claudette had that similar feeling when she saw Fleet. Suddenly, King Rogue, played by Joshua Tomar, the leader of the Rogue Wolves, which somehow he looks like a recolored model of King, interferes the meeting as Queen Bear sent Canu to run away for safety, and the pups asked the Queen Bear to take Canu to go somewhere safe. The Rogue Wolves, however, they sort of got some new design-ish, even with the new hairstyles. I'll give them that. Meanwhile, at the Bear Kingdom, we see a variety of bears, even a King Bear, played by Chris Smith, which later he was informed about what's going on. The pups, while escorting Canu to safety, continues running while being chased by rogue wolves, even while distracting them as Agnes attacks one of them, and then the other rogue wolf is still chasing them, till they did the trick on the turn right to the left.
Oh yeah, another one bites the dust.
And we get a Queen reference. The royal birds arrive to see Eve and Winston to give a warning message about the incident that's going on. So Winston called his pack for the urgent message by call. Kate and Humphrey began to hear the howl as they arrived to meet up with Eve and Winston to hear what's going on. The team pups brought Canu to their cave for safety, and that Winston and Eve got to meet Princess Canu. Then later, the pups got grounded for going to the rogue territory, but Canute tells them to excuse them for their bravery on saving her life from the rogue wolves and to unground them. Then later, both Marcel and Patty arrives to see them, and then suddenly...
I saw her first. I'm sure Magpie would like to meet something more than a peasant-class goose.
Okay, now they begin to fall in love with Magpie, played by G.K. Bose, as it feels like Inuyasha versus Koga over Kagome reference. Meanwhile, the animals of Jasper had succeeded to stop the rogue wolves, but Strom had betrayed her, as seen from the flashback on how they managed to escape from him. But later, the rogue wolves spotted her out with the caribou, and they began to run away from them. But luckily, the squirrels distracted the wolves when biting their legs to stop them, while the leftover pack is still chasing Queen Bear with the caribou that helps defending her from them. Kate and Humphrey arrived as backup to defend Queen Bear as they brought reinforcements from Team Winston, and those so-called reinforcements are, you guessed it, more recolors, even the 4 Tonys from copy and pasting. Back then, when I first thought Tony was in the pack, but later on it turns out it's just more of those recolored characters. So the rogue wolves retreats. The queen informs Humphrey and Kate about what's going on, so they headed on back to the Bear Kingdom with the help of Kate and Humphrey. Suddenly, Strom arrived back as he's making lies to the king about protecting and by sending the bears to the eastern forest, but Louis, played by Chris Smith, begins to notice that Storm is a traitor as he pushed them both off for Louis and King Bear, and has dethroned the kingdom as he is now the new ruler. This is totally Lion King clone in a way. Meanwhile, back in Jasper, Canute wakes up and tells Magpie she's worried about her mom, so they sneaked out, and the pups begin to notice that they sneaked out as Canute begins to notice what's going on, so they headed on out to the Bear Kingdom. Humphrey comes up with a plan, and then later the recolored Marcels arrived along with the rogue wolves. Meanwhile, the bears that was sent to the eastern forest as they meet up with the animals as they found Canute, but she warns them on what's going on, so they all headed on back. King Rogue and Strom have become a duo the whole time, like it was all part of the plan all along, whilst Strom is the new leader. The recolored Marcels been playing music as they got bored and... Yoo-hoo! Wait, hold on, time out for the Alpha and Omega-Cember for a moment. Is this what I think it's a... No way, they didn't. Now that I'm looking back at this movie came out in May 9th, 2017 in the US, but JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 2 with Joseph Joestar's Woman Disguise was pretty much around in the English dub release around that same year, but 2017 was Part 3's release in the USA. But with the sequel version of Humphrey in these movies, he's voiced by Ben Diskin. But Ben Diskin has also voiced Joseph Joestar, the young version from Part 2. Oh my God. Are they referencing / celebrating JoJo's Bizarre Adventures USA release, especially for tributing on Ben Diskin's performance in JoJo Part 2 on this disguise for Humphrey? I hope someone can get a hold of Ben Diskin and asking him if this really was a celebration for his performance as Joseph Joestar on the English dub release, especially the woman disguise scene too, or this was probably just all a coincidence. But anyway, back to the Alpha and Omega-Cember. So Humphrey is distracting while in disguise, as it looks a bit like a female jester in a way. So the bears and pups arrive to Bear Kingdom. The Bear King and Louie have survived from the fall. And then we get this dancing scene by rapping. The distraction was over as the Bears versus the Rogues go at war with the Team Winston pack as they all go at war with each other. Yeah, this is a ripoff to The Lion King for this part. And we see Marcel and Patty just poo on them. Holy, just wow. They really went that deep. Then we get a fight with the bears scene. Then King Bear just threw Strom off the cliff. And as for Louie, he just threw the others off as well. Then we see the rest of the rogues being outnumbered. As we see Garth? Oh no, wait, that's a recolor too. As they're closing up to them. And so the rogues end up in prison in the big hole. The Bear Kingdom congratulate the animals of Jasper, the pups, Kate, Humphrey, Winston, and Eve, and
let's celebrate!
They actually, quote-unquote, celebrating by partying. And that's a wrap. Man, just looking back at this movie again, I have no words. But this is a finale? Just wow. Even in the trailer, they just said new adventure instead of saying like the final adventure. I mean, come on, really? Well, I have mentioned this in one of my old videos saying, look at Brave Little Toaster to the rescue. When I said that in their trailer, they said, Disney presents the final chapter, which that proves it's the final installment. But this one, all they say was a new adventure. But they didn't even say, like, get ready for one final adventure in this final movie. This is bad as Equestria Girls Holiday Unwrapped, to be honest, when expecting to see a proper finale where they are in senior years before graduation, but instead, we just get different Christmas segments as a finale instead of an actual special or whatever this was supposed to be. But now that that's over, that concludes the Alpha and Omega-Cember at long last. Stick around for the final thoughts where I recap all 8 movies, which this will all be based on, like Lily Orchid, aka Lily Pete, on how she recaps all of her in minutes after seeing the movies, then recaps the movies as I myself will feature them in the tier ranking from Tier Maker. And then I might even make a compilation of all the Alpha and Omega-Cember in one video. So yeah, this is Sharingan1230 signing out.